You're the founder of the internationally known lifestyle fitness apparel brand Live Fit. And you used to be a personal trainer before that, and you made t-shirts and designs in college while going to Long Beach. So how did you first get involved in the clothing industry?
Before college and before fitness and all that stuff, I was involved in the clothing industry. I grew up skateboarding, and I played in hardcore bands. I played drums in a band. And with all that stuff, like skating, playing in a band, doing that kind of stuff, clothing was a huge influence in our culture. Like, while we were playing in bands, we had to sell merchandise. So with that, we had to make our own t-shirts. We had to go, do that type of business to get merch and sell it to our fans and customers, And with skatewear, or with the street culture, skate culture, I wanted to start a skate brand as well when I was young. And so same process with like the whole band. You had to go make shirts here and there. You didn't think of it like a business at first.
Yeah.
You just wanted to create something and rock it with your friends. And obviously the stuff costs money, so you had to charge your friends. So it was like you're subconsciously doing business, on a lot smaller scale. So that was my whole thing before I got into the whole fitness and all of that. The clothing thing, I had a ton of experience doing it growing up. And I think in high school, I took one graphic design class in high school. And in that class, I learned how to silk screen, actually burn the screen, put the emulsion on the screen, and, use the Lightroom and do that whole process. So, yeah.
So you've been like designing shirts and making them through silkscreen for a while, and then you got into fitness, and you're like, why not start a fitness line, kind of like that?
Yeah. So, like I said, all the other stuff before I got into fitness, like the whole clothing experience, retail side, I've done that for, I want to say, 7 years before I even got into fitness. And then when I got into fitness, some of the brands I had prior didn't do well, or they didn't pop off, or I just stopped doing it. So, when I got into fitness, you obviously are getting paid. You're a professional now. You have to start charging for your services. And with that, you're becoming a brand already. So becoming a brand, you want your clients to wear your merchandise, right? So I made a couple, t-shirt designs and started having my clients wear it. Okay. And it just evolved from there, from my clients wearing my t-shirts to word of mouth to the local community at first. And then obviously using social media to
do that. Yeah. Screen printing, and then you kept like flipping until you had enough to work with manufacturers. How did you like brand yourself locally? Because that's how you started before social media, right?
Yeah. So that, like I said, a lot of the stuff came organically, and I think that's like a really important part and a really important aspect of, I think, why I became successful. Is because of the organic growth locally first, without social media. And the $300, that's, a lot of people find it unbelievable. They don't believe it, actually. But when you think about it, when I'm personal training, I had that money. I saved up $300 cash. $300 can get you a batch of shirts for like 40, 50 shirts. 40, 50 shirts times $20. You got X amount, and you just snowballing that, because I can live off my personal training money. This side money, it's like $300. You can go buy some clothes, or you can choose to invest and start a business. I chose this, and it just snowballed. That $1,000 I made, put it back into the initial investment, and then 36 shirts became 100 shirts. 100 shirts became 1,000 shirts, and it just snowballed into this thing years later. So.
Okay, what do you think like drew people to your brand? Was it the design? Was it the branding you did on it, or why do you think people bought from you as opposed to just buying other people's shirts?
At first, I felt they obviously my clients wanted to buy it because they wanted to feel like they were part of something, and that was one thing I pushed with my personal training business. A lot of camaraderie. We're doing this together. Your fitness journey isn't just by yourself. You have all these people working together. We have support, because this is not an easy thing. You want support from other people. It's a strict routine you have to follow through. So you need accountability. And what I've built in my RP Fitness, my personal training business, in that culture is that camaraderie style, you know. So when I had these T-shirts, it was just the first slogan said "Live Fit," you know, but on the back it said Team RP. So with the Team RP, that was kind of like, hey, I'm part of this team. You know, when I wear this, people are gonna know that I work out. You know, I'm with this squad, and it's, you know, we marketed like that. So I think the whole camaraderie thing, first, it tied a lot of people in and just wanted to be a part of something, you know.
It was like a movement, kind of. They feel they're part of something bigger.
Yeah, it was cool. You know, and every time we worked out, it was fun. Everyone was having fun. I made sure, like, I had best, enthusiasm on, like, just going all in and making sure my clients, you know, gave it their all, you know. So it was cool.
And so you've branded LiveFit not just as a lifestyle fitness brand locally, but through social media internationally as a brand. So how did you first go about like branding yourself on social media?
I've only leveraged Facebook at first because Instagram was only available for Apple, I believe, and I didn't have an Apple at the time. I was using a BlackBerry, so I didn't have access to Instagram. So I was just full on Facebook. It was all word of mouth. Like, we recorded videos, took pictures of like transformations and stuff, and other clients and word of mouth or friends of clients started seeing that. And once Instagram popped off and was available for Android, I mean, I already threw away my BlackBerry probably like years later and went on an iPhone and convinced to get Instagram. I wasn't really big on it at first, and then once I started posting on it with my clients, and my clients wearing our shirts and stuff like that, people started attracting to it more. Just like I said, more word of mouth, and it was just a lot better at the time. I think it was something new besides Facebook, because Facebook was getting old at the time. You know, even though it's still a strong social media pool today, but once you see something new, everyone's trying to say, hey, what's this thing? You know, what's the next social media thing? And this was it, Instagram. So I leveraged that and made a RP Fitness page, was just dedicated myself in personal training and my clients.
Yeah, it's like so saturated, but you're like one of the first to do those transformation pictures and like brand yourself on social media, right?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't keep record if I was the first, but I just focused on doing that, and it, you know, it became what it is today. So
when did you see like the return on investment, or like when did you see that, you know, I could leverage this to for my business, because there are probably people all over the world just following you. So how did you leverage that?
Yeah, good point. So with, like I said, with Instagram and the whole social media, when I posted my shirts and my clients wearing them and that whole thing, I had an online store already just in case people wanted to buy. And I was getting orders trickling in, you know, not huge orders, but they were there, and they kept increasing as more followers I got, as I started branding it more, and it just naturally, I got orders from not within my city, but out of state, and then it was out of the country, and then it was just it just spread, you know, like crazy with Instagram or social media. So I think over time I had to decide, like, hey, the amount of time of me packing orders and doing all this stuff and managing it like a brand, which I had prior experience to, was like, hey, I need to get rid of school, because this wasn't helping me at all. College was just holding me back. I couldn't train, I couldn't design, I wasn't learning anything. So I dropped the whole college thing, and then I was like focused on personal training and doing Live Fit. And I had a t-shirt shop I invested in that in the beginning. Like, there was a lot of stuff I did, but all the other stuff like the t-shirt store and personal training required my time. So I had to leverage it out. When I'm sleeping, I'm getting orders on my online store. So that money eventually, obviously over time and more marketing and stuff, that money came just, it was surpassing my personal training money, income. Okay. So I was like, it was a point where I was just spreading things too thin. I'm like, hey, I gotta make it or break it. So I committed to doing the brand 110%, and then I gave my clients off to my buddies that worked for me at the time. Actually, right here, Journey to Fit. It's funny, I'm wearing the shirt.
Well, how did you, why do you think people, what drew them to your brand? Because, you know, people can just put up their shirts and all that, but there's a way that you marketed on social that people thought, you know, this is cool, or I want to be a part of it. How did you create that?
So versus a person just investing money and putting it up there without doing any kind of footwork at first. The difference is, I believe, is because when I first started, I came from something. There's a story behind this brand, and the story was that I was a personal trainer. I came from skateboarding, and it was already something there that it wasn't supposed to be a clothing brand, right? It was a camaraderie, personal training team. It was just a group of people working out, It was a personal training brand locally, and I added with the designs that I did, streetwear style, skate culture style, the style that stuff I would wear, So then that caught on, and that already separated me from just a person with, I don't want to say a no name, but when I pushed this first, I pushed it as the RP Fitness Live Fit brand first, So it gained traction there, and I was competing at the time too. I forgot to throw it in there. I was doing men's physique, so I was making a name for myself. So every time I was getting notoriety, I was wearing Live Fit.
Yeah.
So it was always associated with Live Fit. I was building it, with that on my back, and then later, obviously, I put on more athletes and stuff and let them start pushing it with social media, and then it became, what it is today.
Yeah. So about like influencers, how did you get other influencers and people to get on board with your brand, and what did you look for when you were looking for influencers?
At first, it was easy, because there was only a select few. I mean, there's hundreds of people, but a select few that I found on social media, and it was easy to contact them at the time, because back then there wasn't a lot of brands out there, or clothing brands in this niche industry, what I'm talking bodybuilding, men's physique, and fitness stuff, So it was easy for me to reach out to them and say, hey, I have this brand, I would like you guys to represent it, what do you guys think? And it wasn't just like a yes or no. If they said yes, I would have to make sure they really like this brand and really believe in the brand, because I don't want people representing my stuff just represent. The audience has to feel that it's organic. Like, this guy really truly believes in Live Fit apparel, and that's how you get people to buy into your products, because we actually believe in this shit, So there's people that will get sponsored by any company, and I don't want those type of people. You want people that are going to be picky, like, all right, this is a true fit, So they have the look, they have the style and everything that we represent at first. So once you find that mesh, then it's a green light, and you just do a test run here and there, boom, and then they grow. Yeah. We grow, and then we take care of each other now. So
I remember one of your YouTube videos. You said you also look for chemistry, right? How they work with your team, because it doesn't matter their skill, talents, or following, or even their looks. It really matters how they mesh with your team. So what are some traits you look for? They have to be on brand, of course, and some other.
Yeah, so the chemistry is huge, and especially now that I've grown a brand and actually have employees, they don't just have to get along with me. They have to get along with my employees. They have to get along with my videographer, my photographer, my designer, my staff, my warehouse guys, because when they come in here, everyone's got to feel on the same page, and that's what I like to build here, like the company culture. So when this person might have obviously a great following, great looks, great style, might fit, but maybe he's just very hard to work with, and that's when we're like, hey, we have to draw a line somewhere. Like, is this really healthy for the company? Because if you get one bad blood in here, it's kind of like a virus, and it'll spread out, So that's what we take into consideration, all the time, and it's the chemistry, it goes far, like. I'll get a dude or whatever with just semi looks and whatever following, but if he has good chemistry and get along with it with all of us, hey man, get on board, because I believe if we all agree on one thing and are all on the same page, we can go a lot further than being with someone that's obviously got a good following, whatever, but we're just always bumping heads.
Yeah, and that's more of a long-term relationship you're trying to grow, right?
Long-term relationship, healthy, and just being. You're just waking up every day knowing that, okay, cool, I'm about to work with cool people. It's just a lot easier on your mind,
Less stress.
Less stress, yeah.
So that's like one of the, I guess, effective ways you grew and marketed your brand. Is there any other ways that's an effective way to grow and market your brand on social media?
Yeah, so like I tell all my athletes and myself that I just posted about it the other day, everything we do on social media now is branding for yourself. Like everything I do and what I post, that's my personal brand. And whatever my personal brand or whatever people see is associated with everything I do. Live Fit, whatever companies, like what brands I wear, to the watch, everything. People look at that kind of stuff because they're always going to ask, oh, what are you wearing? What are you eating? You know, so obviously with social media, people, whether they like it or not, they are their own brand. You know, so that was a way I had to instill to my athletes, like, hey, you know, this is your representative of Live Fit, you know. And that's one thing, you know, you have to really believe in the brand, because if you really believe in the brand, it's going to be out there anyways. No matter if they're out working out, eating dinner, having fun at the beach or something, they're going to have something Live Fit on because they truly believe in the brand, you know. So that's one aspect of that. And then another one is obviously leveraging social media, and then obviously the other technical marketing tactics like email marketing and just stuff like that, you know, the general stuff.
Is there anything you would do like differently if you could go back and market yourself again on social media, or well, like how would you go about it if you could redo it from zero followers, you know? Yeah,
that's a good question. I probably wouldn't do anything different, because when I grew the company, I never spammed it on people, where I see a lot of brands just kind of like do sponsored ads and just spam it, even on Facebook. I never really believed in that. I wanted the brand to grow by word of mouth, you know, maybe like 80% word of mouth, and the rest I'll do some marketing, post some cool pictures, and, you know, do marketing with solo models and stuff like that. When I say that, not athletes, but just models and people that I think would be a good fit, but, you know, we just do a contracted work to get it out that way, but mostly it's all organic.
That's probably the best way too, because they just believe in it, and so other people would naturally follow it, right?
Yeah, the best way is obviously organic. When you have an organic following, you're creating a movement. It's more than just a brand now, you know? You get to a point where everything is just branded LVFT, you know? Like now we have obviously license plate frames, we got like stickers, backpacks, just everything, you know? Pretty much a whole lifestyle movement, you know, that we've created. So,
and you talked about how you grew up on welfare, and you had a single mother and all that. Were there any like pivotal like moments or hardships in your life that shaped your drive and like who you are today?
Yeah, I get that asked a lot too, like what drives me, and you know, for me growing up poor as fuck, like I didn't know any better, you know. I didn't have an option to where like, fuck, I'm just gonna give up and sit back. Like I couldn't do that. Ever since I was young, like I was, you know, on the street skating, and just like my mom going to work all day, I had to kind of fend for myself. You know, she'd give me like what, $2 a day just to go buy some food.
You said you paid your bills at 16, right?
At 16, you were 15 or 16. Yeah. I had my first job at 16, and I was still in high school. After I was done in high school, I would go to fucking work and, you know, make ends meet, because I'd have to help my mom pay for rent and put food on the table too. So like hardship stuff like that, I was so used to, you know. I wasn't afraid to lose anything because I didn't have shit to lose. You know, and I learned a lot growing up on the streets. It's like you know, you see a lot of things around you, and you're like, fuck, dude, I don't want to stay in this bubble, and if I don't do shit, I'm gonna stay in it. So it's like you're constantly seeing all these things when you're at such a young age. You're like, fuck, dude, I don't want to do this shit, you know? Like you watch movies and you watch TV, and you're like, fuck, I want to have that shit, you know?
You don't want to just watch them, you want to...
Yeah, I want to be that, you know? This boy has like cars in the house, like, dude, I want to fucking have that shit too, so...
Is there like a story about you, Randall, that maybe not many people know about, that's been critical in like shaping who you are today?
Story? I don't know, man. I have a lot of stories.
Whatever like comes to your mind, or
I don't even know.
Like when you're young, or maybe you're like, you saw this one person, or you saw, you know, you had this one talk that changed your mindset, or you're like, I really need to do this, or
I know, I'm trying to think right now. I mean, I met a lot of great people along the way, but I didn't really have like a mentor or anything like that, you know? I mean, one person I did listen to a lot was Nipsey Hussle, the artist, and here, this is a good one. So one of his verse in his songs, it was, Mama said, boy, you're a fool. Stay in school. Last month I made more than every teacher at my school. So with that lyric, I was like, that instilled in me. I was like, okay.
Like I'm dropping out.
It was like me, because all these professors around me teaching me this nonsense that, well, they're not nonsense, but shit I'm never going to use in my life. I'm like, fuck, dude, I'm already making way more than they're making, you know. I'm just like, I'm not trying to be conceited, but I'm putting two and two together, you know. So Nipsey Hussle said that he's already making doctor money and shit like that, and I'm like, fuck, dude, I'm already doing this, sitting in school, you know, with students that are trying to make it but have no idea. I didn't feel I was in the same level as them, you know. So with that lyric, that really hit home, you know. And I was like, fuck, dude, that was me. It made me, I was like, fuck it, I'm dropping out, and that was the best decision I made, you know?
Yeah.
So, and I don't encourage people to drop out, but I encourage people to understand what school is. It's obviously a business, and if it's not right for you, and if you don't feel that it's doing anything for you, then get the fuck out. You already have something good for you, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you talk a lot about how you don't need to go to school to be successful, but what do you think people do need to be successful? Like, what are some of the
key points?
Yeah.
Dude, it's huge. You need a good personality. You need how to socialize, and you just need good work ethic. You know, it comes down to that. It's a lot of easy things. A lot what school teaches you are tasks doing things, you know, to just think right here and do what you need to do and then go home. You know, they don't teach you to really critically think and go. Think how to think of yourself, how to problem solve real situations, and so that's one thing, right? To learn how to do that, be a critical thinker and stuff, but have a cool personality. I've seen this so much around where people are just, they have the right mindset, they have the ambitions, they have the capability and the smarts, you know, to do a lot of these things, but their personality just fucking sucks. So the people that are to hire or wanting to hire them are like, fuck, dude, I can't stand you, so you can go kick rocks. I'll find another person. A lot of people don't understand. I'm going to put this the hard way. People are replaceable, you know? And owners of companies, people that actually create jobs, they want to be around people they can stand. They want to be around people that are like them or just cool, you know? Like, fuck, man, this guy's chill. Like, you know, I'm going to hire you just because of that. And just from... You don't have to be the smartest person, but if you know a little bit about what you're doing, not a little bit, but enough, then we can work together and go a lot further, you know? So personality is key. Yeah, and that's it. And then people that just understand their lane and just, I don't know, it has to come down to the being of the person, the characteristic,
being
you know?
relational and...
just social too. Like, depends on what job. Like, if I want to hire like a wholesale dude or a salesperson and stuff or customer service, I don't care how smart they are. I want them to be able to instill to the customer, like, fuck, you know, like, if we made a mistake, dude, I'm so sorry, you know, like, this is not us, you know, like, they're a good representation of the brand. They can speak well for us, you know, and it has nothing to do with how smart you are or what, you know, it's all how they are, kind of how they interact with people, you know, so, yeah.
Awesome. And you said you knew that your fitness brand would succeed. I think you even tattooed your hand Live Fit before it kind of blew up like crazy. And did you have like a do or die mindset? Like, what made you tattoo your hand, and how are you so confident that you'd succeed when there's, you know, other competitors and others in the clothing industry? Yeah,
I got LVFT tattooed right here, and at this point in my head, like I put tattoos on me, not because it's like I'm gonna be it forever or whatever, because it's on me. If I tattoo something, it's because it's like it was a big moment in my life, you know. Even because I have old straight edge tattoos, I'm not straight edge anymore, but it was a big part of my life, so I'm not gonna X those things out, you know what I'm saying? But with this, like, even fail or not fail, I knew Live It was a big part of me, you know. Even if I don't have it in 10 years or 15 years, like, that was a good time in my life that I fucking spent. I had good memories with good people, like, you know, so it's kind of like that.
So just like not like to remember.
Remember, exactly, you know, so.
Awesome. Well, you're still doing it now, so it's good that you got it. And you said you're like the face of Live It, and you didn't want that to happen necessarily, but it did. And was that good for your social media, and you just, you know, rolled with it? Do you think people follow Live It partly because of you, and, you know, how did that happen? Like,
so now we have enough data to try to track things. You know, at first, obviously, I was the face of RP Fitness. It was my personal training brand, right? But when I decided to say, hey, I'm gonna brand this thing. I'm gonna get on surfers, skateboarders, fitness people. I started stepping back behind the curtains and putting my foot soldiers in the front. My marketers, the new faces. But at the same time, obviously this was growing. My personal brand was growing too, just because of social media. People kind of followed what I did, so I obviously kept that in the back of my head, and I was like, really, everything I did, I wore Live Fit too. So I seen it on social media, and I'm pretty sure you've seen it too now, like with Instagram pages and things like that. Brands have pretty good engagement, but people themselves always have way better engagement, because it's real, you're a person.
They follow the people, like you said, people move people, so they
exactly.
They
people
follow them.
They're more relatable,
Yeah.
And I try to instill that into the brand too. That's why we show behind the scenes stuff. That's why we show videos of our athletes speaking and like the stories of them, like what they're doing behind the scenes, so people can interact with that too, instead of just doing products and regular campaigns.
Do you think businesses need to do influencer marketing now, because there's a lot more influencers with like social media and stuff like that, but in the past, businesses would just advertise on like billboards or ads, TV. Like no one really does TV anymore, anyways. But like, what do you think is the best way to market yourself, whether as a clothing brand or just in general?
So we live in a new age today. Billboard stuff, television stuff doesn't work as much. I find it this way: billboard, television, those kind of big ads. That's more for status. Like when we had a billboard on 2nd Street, that was just because of status. I didn't care who looked at it or whatnot. It wasn't for marketing. Oh, I'm going to get new gains from this. No, it was for me to be like, damn, I did it up there. I think social influencers are the way to go, because underground people too, people that are more relatable. That's how people get discovered on Instagram too, just new faces pop up, and the market's huge. So I encourage especially small brands to go with people with organic following, not necessarily celebrities. I've seen brands put so much money towards having like a famous rapper wear their stuff, or a famous entertainer, and then it just falls to shit because no one gives a shit. It's not real anymore.
They just do it like once.
Yeah, do it once or whatever. Like I don't give a shit if this famous person wears our stuff. That's cool. But you want to keep it like real and organic. So
you want them to believe in your brand.
And
you said.
Yeah, exactly. And then we grow together. Everyone grows.
Yeah. So have you I guess grown influencers? Is that something you do, or brands should do, in the future, or stuff like that?
The way we did it, obviously we use influencers and stuff, but it's a tight niche of influencers, / athlete. I could have sponsored 20 to 25 people, but no, we only have 7 to 8 athletes at a time, and like 4 ambassadors, and that's it. We just spread our marketing through those guys. And that's it, and it keeps it more exclusive, more rare. So that's kind of like a branding technique that I use personally. I don't want to force feed it and have everybody rock it. You just want to keep it in your nice group of people and make it seem like a solid team.
Keep it tight.
Yeah.
I see other fitness industries, they just have like so many ambassadors. It's just so spread out.
I have nothing against that. It's just not my way of branding. I wouldn't call that too organic. So
I guess, how do you create that type culture? Because I'm sure people want to, but they either don't have the personality or they don't know how to create that. I feel like you treat your team like a family, and you don't just see them as you work for me, you work like with me, together. So is there something you could like advise people on?
That has to start with the owner. So that has to start with me. When I hire, I have to be really picky about who I hire. I have to pick and choose, and then sometimes you don't know how really a person is until 6 months down the line. You're just like, fuck, okay, the truth is coming out. It's kind of like when you have a roommate. So, like even today, I think right now we have like the tightest niche group of people, but, don't get me wrong, just throughout these 4 years, we had to let some people go. We had to have some rough talks, and, but it takes time, so for all those out there like, hey, I'm not sure if I'm hiring this person. It's been like 3 years. I feel if you like, it takes time to get that tight niche group of people, to work with.
A lot of time, a lot of investment. And
a lot of investment,
find out who they are. all
But
that.
once you do, is way easier. You know, everyone kind of, you know, takes care of everybody else too. It's cool.
Yeah, and I think what's cool about you is you actually invest the time. A lot of people, they just want to, you know, outsource or hire people and just let them do their thing and, you know, just make money. But you actually like care for each one of your team members, which is
Yeah, I've seen people hire like a photographer or a videographer. They'll hire them, but they don't check on their work in the beginning. So when they get something back, they're like, "Oh, this is awful. You know, you suck. You know, I don't want blah blah blah." Like, no, then be with that person, help them out, let them know what you want. You know, and get the end result with them. You know, because it's like they can't read your brain. You know, so with us, I spend fucking hours with. Our girl Stacy, I spent hours with Miguel. I spent hours with Alex, our graphic designer. You know, and even to like warehouse before all the logistics became set in stone. I had to spend time with these guys and like figure things out with them. You know, but it's good as an owner too because then now you know how the whole operation works. You know, you're not just like blind to it. Like, oh fuck,
what are they doing?
Yeah, what are they doing? I don't know if this guy's like, you know, taking advantage of me or not. Like, you know,
and everyone has their own like style, so it's you have to kind of make sure they understand how you want.
Exactly, yeah. And that was kind of hard for me at first, you know, with the warehouse logistics. I had to step back and like, all right, cool. You know, you don't have to do it my way, but if the end result is the same and everyone's happy, then all right, let's do it, you know? So.
Awesome. And you have like 4 different brands. You have, you know, Live Fit, you have the Top Threads and Cloud. You have like a lot and a watch business coming out. So, you know, how do you juggle everything? I know you're always doing something like as an entrepreneur, but how would you like focus your time, or is there any things you do for that?
With these brands, because they're so different, I want to say it's easier, you know. With Live Fit, obviously, it's like more fitness, active, skateboarding, surfing style. With Top Threads, it's more of like cleaner streetwear type of style, you know. So it's easier to separate, you know. Like it's not really cloudy in my head, but so when I design things, it's kind of like it's just easy to separate. I don't know, it's hard to explain. It's easy to juggle. We spend X amount of time on, obviously a lot of our time is with Live Fit, you know, but when I'm at home and not doing anything, what do I like to do? I like to create things, I like to design. That's like my hobby. So that's when I start working on Top Thread stuff and whatever, you know. Taking photos, stuff like that, you know. You build a huge portfolio, and then you're like, oh shit, okay, let's start putting this stuff out, you know. And then with right now, obviously, or I don't know if you know, but Top Threads and Cloud 10 are joining together. So then Top Threads is going to have sunglasses as well. So it's going to be the Cloud 10 glasses rebranded with the Top Threads logo. So that's going to be taken care of, you know, all in one. And then with the watch company that's coming out, you know, I'm partnering up with Brad Cameron from Australia, the founder of Build Your Empire. He's got his whole marketing thing going. He pitched it to me, so it's like I already have the resources to source out the watches and find the materials and the actual product. And he has a market, so it's kind of like plug and play. You know, the hardest part is finding the logistics. Once you find the logistics, like the whole customer service, the warehouse, the wholesaling, the shipping and receiving, all that stuff, it's a lot easier to do the plug and play stuff. You know. But I don't want to spread myself too thin, but
because it seems like no one really taught you. You just learned all on your own, right? How to do all this. So, like even finding manufacturers, you had to reach out to them directly, or you know, Google or something.
Yeah, that's a full-time job we have here. We have a product sourcer here, you know. So every new product that we want that starts from a scratch concept, you know, those have to be. We have to hit at manufacturers. So our guy, Omar, our product manager, he just, you know, sources it out, goes to a ton of manufacturers, trying to get the best price and try to see what kind of turnaround times we get, you know. So it becomes a whole full-time job.
And just before we end the interview, I just want to ask, you know, if you could go back. Well, first, is there anything else you think you want to give advice to anyone who wants to start a clothing brand, or do something that you've done?
My advice, a lot of people ask me, oh, where do you get this manufactured, or what kind of teas you use, like that type of stuff. You should figure that shit out yourself, because once you figure that out yourself, you know the process, you know. You don't want to take the easy way out, because when something when a situation that requires you to have all this knowledge behind you, you're not going to have it, you know?
Think critically.
Yeah, so you just got to figure it out yourself.
Yeah.
And I always tell us all the time, if you're going to do it, you're going to do it anyways. You're going to find a way to fucking do it.
Yeah.
You know, it might not be the best pricing and it might not be the best quality at first, but you're going to learn.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, just go and do it, you know?
I'm gonna try it.
Yeah.
So if you could go back in time to young Randall, maybe in high school, maybe when you're going through hard time as an entrepreneur or a person, just in general, like life, like what would be something that, as someone older, you would speak to your younger self that that you would have appreciated, I guess, as younger Randall?
No one told me. I had to figure it out myself. But
Yeah.
what society teaches you when you're growing up is a bunch of bullshit, you know? They teach you this thing that you can never achieve. You know, they tell you to go to college, they tell you to do this stuff, they don't, you know, it's just a lot of false promises or false, you know, elaborate
It's
thing
like
that they,
like just
yeah,
talking
there's
through
a lot
that
of this,
loop.
yeah, a lot of these adults are telling me it's a bunch of bullshit, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, you got to create things yourself and, you know, obviously keep an open mind. And if I were to do it again, I would have, obviously, I knew what I wanted to do right out of high school. You know, when I went to college, I was already set on what I was going to do. I would have left that a long time ago. That was one of the things, if I had to do it over again, I would have dropped out sooner. I felt like I would have been a millionaire 5 years earlier, for sure, 100%.
You just did fitness apparel?
No, if I was, because like I said, I was running Live Fit Apparel while I was in college.
Yeah.
But it took me 4 years to be like, fuck, all right, let me just drop out. If I would have just deleted those 4 years and dropped out right then, I would have been way more ahead of the game than I am now.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
So.
Yeah. So drop out
Yeah,
earlier
see,
that
yeah.
year.
If you know what you're doing, go for it. College will always be there. The university will always be there. They will always be there to take your money.
Yeah.
All right? So, but you know,
go.
the opportunities, and if something is going, you have a good momentum, it's not always going to go up this way. You got to keep that shit going. You got to keep that fire going.
Yeah,
if not, then it can disappear, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thanks, Randall, for all the advice, and I'm
Yeah.
sure a lot of people can take a lot away from it.
No problem.
Yeah.
Sweet.